King's Country, kingscountry.net. That's Dirk Bentley. Come a little closer. I'm Jim King of the radio. Thanks for listening. Speaking of Dirk Bentley is up for Male Vocalist of the Year at next week's CMAs. He'd love to win, but he's had so many nominations without a trophy that he feels like soap star Susan Lucci. Listen to him joke about it here.
I think I've been nominated for the Male Vocalist, honestly, maybe 12 times. It's been a lot, and I'm super grateful for each one. I've never won that award, but I do get nominated a lot. So I'm like the Susan Lucci of Male Vocalist nominations. I've been telling people for years I'm a better singer than Chris Stapleton, and people might actually start believing me when I say, yo, I've been telling you, I'm a much better singer than Chris Stapleton. Look, I have this plastic trophy here. It really helped put an end to the argument, because I just don't understand how people don't understand that. I mean, it's so obvious.
King's Country, kingscountry.net. You're riding Cadillac style in the Red Rocket. Plenty of room in here. Make yourself comfortable. Today is November 5th, TGIF, November 5th already. 20 days until Thanksgiving, 13 days until the Great American Smokeout, 2 days until daylight savings ends. That means you need to fall back 2 a.m. this Sunday. So when you hit the crib Saturday night, make sure you have the clock's 1 hour back. Here's some back-in-the-day tidbits. 12 years ago on this very date, sad news, 2009, the worst mass shooting at a U.S. military installation happened in Fort Hood, Texas, when an Army psychiatrist killed 13 unarmed soldiers and wounded more than 30 other people. 15 years ago, in 2006, Saddam Hussein was sentenced to death for crimes against humanity by a special Iraqi tribunal. He was executed a month later. 19 years ago today, in 2002, Justin Timberlake released his debut album, Justified, featuring his hits Cry Me a River and Rock Your Body. As we keep it coming country style on the Jim King of the Radio Show TGIF edition, thanks for streaming us. Here comes Andy Griggs, If Heaven on King's Country. Good morning.
If heaven was an hour, it would be twilight.
King's Country, kingscountry.net. That was Cody Johnson and Reba, Her Royal Highness. Speaking of Cody Johnson, I've met him once or twice backstage. In fact, I'm having a fabulous flashback. Could get bumpy. Hold on, boys and girls.
King of the road.
Backstage with Texas country troubadour Cody Johnson. Cody Johnson, you kind of had a beginning sort of like Chris Ledoux, because he did the same thing, selling CDs on the back of his car and hitting the rodeos.
Well, I didn't realize that at the time. I'd always grown up, Chris was a big influence on me, but I didn't realize that he had come from such a humble upbringing as far as financially and had to do that. We did a trip up to Canada this year, and I actually got to sit down with Chris's old hauling partner. He's like an 8-time saddle bronc Canadian champion, and he was telling me these stories about how Chris couldn't buy McDonald's, and he was selling his CDs to try to make up for his entry fee money that he lost. And you're talking about a world champion. So I said, well, at least we know we're doing one thing right. We can follow in those footsteps. Those are good ones.
One of the thrills of my radio career was actually getting to meet Chris Ledoux.
You're kidding.
This was probably 10 years ago, just before he passed.
See, now I'm a little jealous.
It's King of the Road, talking to the man, Chris Ledoux. Nice to meet you. I've been hearing a lot about you. I've been hearing your songs for years. It's really an honor to meet you.
Well, thanks.
Actually, I want to get you on tape so that in a few years I can look at the tape and say, hey, look, there's a worn-out tape of Chris Ledoux.
And that's pretty witty.
Worn-out tape of Chris Ledoux. Lonely women and bad booze seem to be the only friends I've left at all.
King's Country at kingscountry.net with Her Majesty Miranda Lambert. Born and reared not too far from here. Born in Longview, Texas, and raised in Lindale, Texas. I think it's about 100 miles north of Beaumont. Been through there once or twice. Her dad was a cop. She married a cop. Of course, she married Blake Shelton a while back, but she's married now to a police officer, former police officer probably by now. Maybe her bodyguard as well, Brandon McLaughlin. He was a New York City cop. They hooked up once on when she was on tour, I think. Anyway, the rest is history, as they say, as we keep it coming on a TGIF edition of the Jim King of the Radio Show. Gary Allen, Smoke Rings in the Dark. King's Country, kingscountry.net. I'm Jim King of the radio. You know, I grew up watching a lot of late-night TV. Used to love Johnny Carson. I'm dating myself now. Yep, way back when they only had 3 channels. Well, 4 if you counted PBS and Rabbit Ears and Tinfoil. Anyhow, for many years I watched David Letterman. Loved that guy. He's retired now, so I miss a lot of these late-night comics. I'm getting old now, crawling the crib a little bit earlier than used to, usually around 10-ish. We've been watching Netflix lately. But anyway, if you're like me, you probably missed all those late-night comics. Here's what you might have missed recently.
I heard that there's a potentially faster-spreading Delta variant moving through the U.S. called Delta Plus. It's basically the Delta variant, but if you get it, you can also stream movies and shows for $13.
We started giving the vaccine to kids aged 5 and up. Finally, our kids will be able to go to bars and nightclubs again. Isn't that great?
A week after renaming their company Meta, Facebook has learned that there's already another tech company called Meta, and they won't sell their name for less than $20 million. When asked why they didn't do their research, Facebook said, we did. We just did it on Facebook.
A new study suggests men feel more heartbroken than women after a breakup. The study is entitled Dateline.
Streaming from the studios of King of the Road Productions in Beaumont, Texas. This is where we do the TV and radio. Yeah, you're listening to the radio. You can watch the TV. It's like this show, but with moving pictures. 3 times every weekend on Fox 4 and the CW. This weekend, we're going to have Paul Thorne back in the Royal Spotlight by popular demand, and thanks to my good friends at Bradley's Collision Center in Port Neches. We'll have the Southeast Texas debut of Lee Bryce's new video as our Pine Tree Lodge music clip of the week from Nashville. We're going to kick it off with George Dearborn and Brandon, captured live in Winnie, Texas.
Extra large and turbocharged. It's the King of the Road Show.
Oh, hail to the king.
One man has the power to take you behind the scenes. Jim King of the Road.
Jim King of the Road.
Memory
George Dearborn, of course, he was the house band at the old Cutters after Tracy Byrd went on to Nashville and Mark Chestnut left. So you were next in line, and one day you woke up and said, I'm hanging up the guitar for 20 years.
Yeah, sometimes you get tired, I guess that's what I did. I don't know. It's
a lot of work.
Tracy and I were visiting earlier, and there was a lot of things back then I don't even remember. So it's it was good to come back, and we're having a lot of success with what we're doing right now, and glad to be back.
Are you having more fun now?
Yeah, because I remember things now. So back then it was just blow and go, and but yeah, it's I'm getting a lot better gigs now, and going different places. We're up in Fort Worth and Dallas, and in the Hill Country, and Waco, and Houston. So we're moving around a little bit.
Bandera has become a good stop for you.
It has. It's I don't know. We fit in with that style of music that people over there like to hear, and we're doing this one this weekend with Tracy, and we've got one next weekend with Tracy in Bandera. So we're looking forward to that also.
Fast as you right there.
Check out George Dearborn and Branded this weekend to kick off the Jim King of the TV show 3 times on Fox 4 and the CW. Primetime Saturday nights at 9:30-ish, because we're in sports season, so sometimes we come on a little bit late. I think it's 10:30 tomorrow night. Anywho, catch it or stream it on JimKingOfTheRoad.com. Just click on the TV show tab. And thanks for streaming King's Country at KingsCountry.net. KingsCountry.net. I got a little taste test for your dining and dancing pleasure in the lunch hour. The Jim King of the radio show. Morgan Wallen has released another performance video from the Dangerous Sessions. This is a stripped-down version of Wondering About the Wind. Taste test time. Check it out.
Guess I leave something bigger to figure it all out. But I sure could use a little praise right now. Yeah, if anybody out there somewhere got a secret they want to share on why it does to her what it does to us, really just ain't fair. Why it always takes her with you and only brings her back now and then. 'Cause I've always been wondering about the wind.
King's Country, KingsCountry.net. Thanks for riding shotgun with me, Cadillac style, through the final hour of the Jim King of the Radio Show, TGIF edition. And after the tragedy that occurred on the Alec Baldwin movie Rust, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says that his production company will never use real guns again. Check it out.
I can't speak for anyone else, but I can tell you, without an absence of clarity here, that any movie that we have moving forward with $7 Productions, any movie, any television show, or anything we do or produce, we won't use real guns at all. We're going to switch over to rubber guns, and we're going to take care of it in post. We're not going to worry about the dollars. We won't worry about what it costs. And when something like this happens, this magnitude, this heartbreaking, I think the most prudent thing and the smartest thing to do is just pause for a second and really re-examine how you're going to move forward and how we're going to work together.
You can lead
a heart to love, but you can't make it fall.
King's Country, kingscountry.net. I'm Jim King. Thanks for listening. I hope you'll watch, too, the Jim King of the TV show 3 times this weekend, Fox 4 and the CW. And this one, we've got George Dearborn and Brandon. We captured them live in Winnie, Texas a while back. Worth re-airing from our Royal Archives. We'll have the Southeast Texas debut of Lee Bryce's new video as our Pine Tree Lodge music clip of the week from Nashville. And thanks to Bradley's Collision Center, the sponsor of In the Royal Spotlight. Paul Thorne will be back in the Royal Spotlight, and I've told you earlier, he has the distinction of having fought Roberto Duran and getting his butt kicked. But who hasn't? Boxing's loss is our gain in the music business. And he's been right here in the King of the Road production studios. Check it out this weekend on Fox 4 and the CW. You can stream the segments right now at JimKingOfTheRoad.com. And thanks for streaming King's Country.
I bought a cheap watch from the crazy man.
King's Country at kingscountry.net. I guess I've done all the damage I can for another week of the Jim King of the radio show. Don't miss the Jim King of the TV show. This weekend on Fox 4 and the CW. Yeah, between this radio show and the TV show, we're on the air 7 days a week, 365. Keep it between the ditches, have a good, and enjoy this beautiful weather in Southeast Texas if you reside in Southeast Texas, Beaumont or the Golden Triangle. Again, keep it between the ditches, have a good, and we'll talk to you Monday morning, bright and early at 10-ish, right here on King's Country. Later, Gators.